Shadow Dragonite gonna fire off the Dragon Claw, forcing the opponent's first protection. The opponent then pivots out into Shadow Venusaur, and here comes Electivire with a 2-to-1 shield advantage. Shadow Electivire has even less bulk than Magnezone. You better believe I'm gonna best that Protect Shield. We're then gonna farm up to the double Ice Punch, and if you're wondering just how hard the buffed Ice Punch hits, well, bang, there it is. Shout out to one of the OG content creators on the YouTube platform, the GOAT Oxford U. We've recently had Zonic return to posting content, so who knows, we might see an upload from Ox sometime soon. So welcome back to the channel. A lot of us were looking forward to playing Mega Master League. Niantic cocked up, and apparently we've now got Master League Premier Cup. I personally quite enjoy this format. Master League, without legendaries, with a huge stat product, Pokemon like Zygarde, Lugia, and of course the basic Tinkan Dialga means Shadow Pokemon can more than hold their own in this format. I've been sitting on a Pokemon that I did power up to level 40. I've been trying to grind the XLs forever. I actually caught this Pokemon way back in July 2020, around 4.5 years ago. I finally got the XLs to power it up to level 50, and my gosh, you better believe I'm going to be testing it out. The Pokemon I'm talking about is the double buffed Shadow Electivire. In both the Great and Ultra League, this thing is very much a glass cannon. In Master League, it gets no better. It doesn't have the biggest stat product, and its bulk is worse than Magnezone, which tells you what we're dealing with. I'm going to pair it up with Dragon Steel Core, with Shadow Dragonite and Metagross respectively, using Metagross as my safe switch, looking to bait out a ground type, hoping to clear the path for Electivire to nuke everything in the back. Is it going to work? Well, there's only one way to find out. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, right off the bat, we found ourselves a problem, the UFO Magnezone. Magnezone, somewhat of a core break, and Metagross is going to be hitting for double resisted with a bullet punch, and is going to have to reach all the way for an Earthquake to do any meaningful damage. I'm just going to stay in. We'll go for a Dragon Claw for two reasons. Firstly, Magnezones essentially shield everything, and secondly, I don't want to debuff my own defense. We call the Mirror Shot. The opponent fires off back-to-back Mirror Shots. Dragonite holds strong this time. We're only reached one further move, and we're full 10 in the Superpower. Superpower forces the final Protect Shield. And we've conceded the farm down and send that Electivire with a 2-to-0 shield advantage. I don't often check PV Poke, simulating how much moves do, but I thought I'd check with Electivire because I didn't want to go 0-25, and a resisted Wild Charge has over 60% of my health, so I'm more than happy to shield up back-to-back Wild Charges, continue to Thunder Shock away and get a huge energy lead. Out comes Metagross. Electivire, smelling blood in the water, about to claim its first victim. The first Wild Charge rocks them below half health. We're going to overfarm, fire off the next Wild Charge, removing Metagross from the field of play. Magnezone is energy dry. The opponent sends out Gyarados. Oh, trainer, I am so sorry. Hi, Gyarados. Bye, Gyarados. Electivire absolutely popping off. Back out comes Magnezone. We're able to reach the Ice Punch. I probably should have Wild Charged him, but doesn't matter. Absolutely not, as we take that game. Can you believe that's the very first battle with the team? What a way to get us underway. In the next battle, we see the mirror matchup. Of course, we are running an ABB team today, so I'm going to farm up, look to catch a Dragon Claw onto Metagross, checking for any ground type. Out comes Rhyperior. On paper, this should be a type neutral matchup. Mod Slap hitting me for super effective, Bullet Punch is hitting them for super effective, but look at my health compared to theirs. Please, next season, buff Bullet Punch. It is such a mid move. The opponent fully Mod Slap farms me down. I did have a Dragon Claw bank, but Dragon Claw probably wouldn't knock out from here, so I'd look to take the extra Dragon Breath, but I actually get denied coming in because this game is very choppy at the moment and it's super annoying. I fire off the Dragon Claw, forcing a protection, the opponent pivots back out into Dragonite, and here comes Electivire. Electivire going to be looking for the one shield, full Thunder Shock farm down. I'm going to be then looking top right if Rhyperior re-enters the arena. We've got the Ice Punch banked and we've got the higher attack, winning CMP. Electivire is a Rhyperior counter confirmed. You heard it here first. That is definitely a joke. Out comes Decidueye. Electivire's bulk about to be put to the test. 4 Thunder Shock and the first Ice Punch. Can we reach Ice Punch number 2? Oh, bloody hell, Electivire. You let me down there, buddy. I think 4 Astonishes removed me from the field of play from half health. The opponent leaves with a Spirit Shackle, and we're going to take a heartbreaking loss. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we've paired up against my friend, the talented Thomas Young. A highly talented battler, someone I was fortunate enough to meet at Liverpool Regionals last year. He's also a Twitch streamer. I'd highly recommend checking him out. He makes a very nice catching Dragon Claw onto Metagross, and I'm actually going to opt to enter the mirror. I could, of course, send out Electivire here, as we would be resisting the bullet punches, but Electivire going to be looking to close strong. I'm going to try and get as many booms in the back as I physically can. After landing the Dragon Claw, I can just go straight Meteor Mash in this battle. A Meteor Mash does around 45% from a Shadow to the regular variant. You can see the second one rocks them deep in the red. At this point, we're just going to save the final shield for Electivire. Earthquake removes me from the field of play. We're going to send out Electivire to get that energy lead we love to have. We've got to be mindful that Goodra does have energy bank. Back out comes Goodra. I believe it's just an Aqua Tail, which means we're going to be able to survive this. If my opponent stays in, I'm hoping I can Dragon Breath him into range where we can Thunder Shock farm down. My opponent recognises that is certainly something that could be achieved. Opt to send out Primarina. We fire off the superpower, hitting for single resisted and minimising the farm. Electivire hits the field of play, and this is going to be a very, very tricky endgame. Of course, I'm going to be forced to shield this. I know my opponent isn't going to shield this move, so I'm going to go for an Ice Punch. I need to undercharge. Thunder Shock farm down, leaving with the double Ice Punch. Jamie Finn, arguably the most washed up batter in the world. But if I do say so myself, that was an absolute beauty. We leave with the double Ice Punch. The first one forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. And the second one is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. We see another Primarina in the lead. Fantastic. We're going to say switch into Metagross. The Waterfall variant of Primarina more than holds its own in this matchup. We're both hitting for neutral damage. As the opponent's opting to stay in, I'm going to shield a Hydro Cannon and look to keep farming up energy. The opponent continues to stay in, so I'm going to take the initiative, fire off the Meteor Mash, which will either knock out or force my shield back. The opponent invests that Protect Shield, but then continue to stay in. I'm just going to take the opportunity to fire off the second Meteor Mash and see what the opponent wants to do. Down goes Primarina. The opponent now enters the mirror. They can go straight Meteor Mash. However, the opponent looks like they're going to look for a farm down. Of course, they're probably thinking I'm going to bait so they can't farm me down. What a surprise, trainer. We full send the Earthquake, nuking them through the Protect Shield. The opponent sends out Dragonite. We send out Electivire. Unfortunately, we're not going to reach double super effective Ice Punch. The opponent concedes the match. In the next battle, we see Gator in the lead. A very nice lead for me, but a very problematic say switch. I think Golden Go is one of the best Pokemon in this format. If you want to climb, I'd highly recommend it. I personally don't have one, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't run it. Metagross Dragonite core is pretty common. The core I'm running, and it completely core breaks me. Although as I say that, Dragonite very oppressive and actually takes this matchup very close in the one shield scenario. I'm going to say Dragonite, thank you very much for your contribution. Let it go down and send out Electivire for that energy lead. Of course, for Alligator cannot re-enter the arena, so the opponent's going to be forced to reveal their third. Out comes Florges. I'm going to farm up, full send a Wild Charge. Wild Charge is going to do a lot, commands the Protect Shield, and then we pivot into Metagross and we're actually able to catch. I remember this battle well. I think I mess up. I think there's many ways I could win this battle. Firstly, I could shield this Hydro Cannon up that I'm not going to do. Secondly, Earthquake's going to do a lot. I could undercharge it. Instead, I full send it. Bit of a mistake. Arguably, I didn't know how much this did, to be honest. It does a lot. And then I should stop tapping. But what I actually did is thinking one Thunder Shock will knock him out so I can save the final Protect Shield. So again, another mistake there. I'm going to farm up, throw the Wild Charge on the CMP time, maximising the Thunder Shock damage. Wild Charge, going to hit hard, but unfortunately not hard enough. I think that game certainly had win cons, but very poor execution on my part. GG's that opponent. Today's team's very glassy, and to be honest, I think quite techie to run. You kind of need to be thinking like 2 or 3 moves ahead. And Jamie Finn, as I said previously, is definitely the most washed up battler in the next battle. We see Rhyperior in the lead. I'm going to fire off the Dragon Claw. I'm always going to shield the Rock Wrecker potentially. Even though they break and swipe bait me, I think it's worth shielding. My backline doesn't want to see this thing. Getting hit with a Rock Wrecker would be a lot worse than shielding up a breaking swipe. We then try and make a catch onto Metagross and the opponent enters the mirror. They're behind in energy. I'm full sending the Earthquake. Earthquake forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. As they're behind, I think this is the easiest bait call of my GBL career. Jamie Finn has huge cojones, calls the bait. And trainer, if you think you bullet punch farm me down, nah, this is our best buddy. Level 51 Metagross, we reach the Earthquake. Earthquake picks up the knockout. Switch timers are slightly misaligned. We make the adjustment, pivoting out into Dragonite. The opponent unable to switch out. We're going to snipe him with the Dragon Claw. Down goes Rhyperior. The opponent's final Pokemon is Gyarados. Of course, Electivire would love to get its mitts. Does it have mitts? Arms, hands, paws? I don't know, but either way, we'd love to see this thing. But Dragonite going to be too oppressive, and Electivire is going to get a well-deserved rest on the bench. GG's. That has to be some of the worst commentary we've done on the channel. What am I on today? I'm on nights, bear with me, we are very sleep deprived. In the next battle again, we see this cheese string in the lead. One of my kids loves cheese strings, so every time I see Golden Go, I just think, why is a piece of cheese on my screen? Again, we haven't got a great answer, so we're going to opt to stay in. We're going to fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw forces the protection. The opponent looks for the Astonished farm down, which they're unable to get, and we're actually able to bank a Dragon Claw. We then make the pivot into Metagross. The opponent's running double grass. What is going on? This is the absolute Wild West. Double grass in Master League Premier Cup. Spirit Shackle, not the best move. I know I tank one. We then fire off one bullet punch and the Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and it's Electivire's time to shine. Electivire going to hit the field of play. We're getting a small amount of stutter lag there, but it is what it is. Having access to Ice Punch is going to be very, very nice for me in this scenario. I'm going to shield at the Spirit Shackle, fire off 4 Thunder Shocks and the Ice Punch. Ice Punch will be moving Decidueye from the field of play. All I've got to do is reach an Ice Punch, which I'm just going to throw as soon as I get it. Is it the best timing? Not really. Does it matter? Absolutely not. We've got that Dragon Claw bank. The opponent doesn't even commit to a farm down. Not that it would have mattered, as Dragonite with his monstrous attack stat would of course be winning the charge attack priority, and we will be emerging victorious. With Dragonite with 1 HP and a dream. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see some very cool spice. With Shadow Venusaur, I've also got one of these powered up all the way to level 50, so if you want to see it, post it down below and I'll put it to work. The opponent says switch into Ursula, I try and catch an Ice Punch onto Metagross. Unfortunately, it's just a Thunder Punch. Either way, we tank that reasonably well. I'm going to go straight for the Meteor Mash. Looking to move this big bear from the field of play. Down goes the bear. Venusaur, of course, cannot return here, as I've played this matchup as Venusaur, and it is miserable. The opponent sends out Rhyperior. We look to reach the Meteor Mash, but unfortunately don't get there. I send back out Dragonite. I'm going to fire off the Dragon Claw. Again, I don't want to debuff my defense, meaning a Breaking Swipe would potentially knock me out. The opponent gives up switch, sending out Venusaur, and Electivire hits the field of play with a 2-to-1 shield advantage. As we are insanely classy, you better believe I'm going to invest this Protect Shield. We're then going to farm up to the double Ice Punch. How much does a buffed non-stab Ice Punch do? Well, if you're wondering how hard we hit, that's how hard. Bang! There it is. Back out comes Rhyperior. The opponent doesn't want the smoke, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see another UFO in the lead. Again, we're kind of core broken. I remember this matchup. I try and throw on CMP. At first, I thought I got the CMP tie. Then I see the Volt Switch come through. Don't do that. Never try and CMP a 4-turn move user if using a 1-turn move. Because if the opponent doesn't throw, you give them 4 free turns. We then look to call the bait, get nuked through 2 Protect Shields, and things aren't looking fantastic. We send out Electivire. The opponent pivots out into Chestnut. I'm going to fire off an Ice Punch. Ice Punch again, just ridiculous damage for a non-stab move. We then farm up and catch onto the Steel Spider. I believe in this meta, Thunder Punch is recommended because of all the flying types and stuff like Gyarados, which would hit for double super effective. Frenzy Plant, the busted Comday move, kind of mandatory, so I'm thinking I should be able to Bullet Punch farm them all the way down. Unfortunately, again, Bullet Punch just not cutting it. They reach the Departing move, which is brutal. We get Rock Deep into the Red Health range. If Magnezone returns, we could go straight Meteor Mash, even though it's double resisted. It would probably force the knockout or a shield. They send out Hippowdon, we fire off the Meteor Mash, rather than concede a farm down, pivot back out into Electivire. This is only a Rock type Weather Ball, but if I don't shield, I'm probably going to die to fast move pressure. Shield up the Rock type Weather Ball, back out, comes the UFO. We're going to fire off the Ice Punch, force the Protect Shield, we're then able to reach the next Ice Punch on the CMP tie. They're in the Red Health range. This surely knocks out right. I can't even see that HP, of course. Wild Charge would do more, but I don't want to debuff my own defense, meaning the sand attacks would do even more damage. And I can't shield either, as they are doubled up, as you can see. Only win con at this point is hoping that a Meteor Mash knocks out a Hippowdon. Meteor Mash, a pretty good move. We're level 51 Metagross, but it simply isn't going to cut it. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Dragapult in the lead. Honestly, how have people got this thing at level 50? I've seen about 7 ever. This is one of the few Pokemon that's able to win CMP against me, hence I don't throw on CMP. The opponent then pivots out into Florges, and we get to very hard punish this beast with Metagross. We fully wall their moveset. Some run Petal Blizzard, some run Moonblast and Disarming Voice, but either way, you can see I was hoping I could fully Bullet Punch farm them down, but that isn't actually the case. So I'm then going to throw the Meteor Mash on the charge attack priority. Meteor Mash, to my surprise, forces a Protect Shield, but even a Moonblast still won't cut it from this range. I think it's a pretty wasted shield. We tank the Moonblast, commit to that full Bullet Punch farm down. Let's see what comes out. The opponent sends out Chestnut. We're going to fire off the Meteor Mash, and this game already looks sign sealed and delivered. We then pivot back out into Dragonite rather than concede a farm down. Thunder Punch, Superpower, Frenzy Plant, no one move will knock me out. We're going to leave with the double Dragon Claw. The opponent recognises they can't win the match and they concede. GG's. In the next battle, we see the two partners in crime facing off against one another. Despite the typing disadvantage for Dragonite, due to having access to Superpower, it more than holds its own. I I thought about attempting to catch a Meteor Mash. That's a bit high risk, high reward when you're playing battles at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to farm up, throw the superpower, apparently on alignment because I'm a potato. Superpower, forces the protect shield. The next time I do throw the correct one Dragon Breath and the next superpower, even debuffed, it rocks Metagross deep into the red. The opponent's forced to throw, and that's fine for me. I'm just going to tank the move, send out my own Metagross, and look to get a resisted Bullet Punch farm down. Unless the opponent pivot, we're going to get a very nice energy lead, and Shadow Metagross, a very scary prospect, unless you've got a very hard counter. In comes Waterfall Gyarados. You might think this is a hard counter, but Shadow Metagross does not care about type-ins. Shadow Meteor Mash rocks the opponent below half health. I pivot into Fire, and out comes Venusaur. The opponent switched out super late, and that's already going to be game over for them. The first Ice Punch lands, but the second one either going to knock out or force the final Protect Shield. Either way, this is game over. The opponent invests that Protect Shield. I could Shield Electivire, but there's no need. Frenzy Plant secures the knockout. We're actually going to let Metagross, at level 51, close this battle. The opponent going to reach to the part in Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant, usually a busted move, but Metagross might have a little something to say about that. The opponent go for the wham, bam, combo play, but it's simply too little too late. We should look the Aqua Tail, return fire with the Meteor Mash. We've already established it's going to do around 50%. Meteor Mash picks up the knockout, back out, comes Venusaur, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Gliscopod in the lead. The opponent save switches into Rhyperior, and I'm kind of forced to stay in. The opponent makes my life very simple, going straight for a break-in swipe, fishing for the debuff, which I believe they wasn't able to get. But either way, what I'm trying to say is I'm not forced to shield. If they went for the Rock Wrecker, of course, I would be obliged to put up that Protect Shield. I attempt to throw the next Dragon Claw on the CMP type, but it looks like I got refunded, as of course we don't lose CMP. Game state pretty terrible, but if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. I do invest a Protect Shield, throw the next Dragon Claw on the CMP site, and able to win the one shield scenario. Let's see what comes out. The opponent opts to send out Florges. We're just going to stay in, throw the superpower, minimise the farm, keep the correct alignment, of course, and Metagross out into this fairy, and have Fire for that bug and water type. The opponent makes the pivot into Gliscopod, and here comes Electivire. Of course, Liquidation has a chance to debuff your defense. I'm thinking I don't want to shield the first move, but oh crap, that does far too much damage. Has Jamie Finn thrown another battle, we farm up to the double whale charge, and you can see that wasn't a charge attack priority. The first one forces the Protect Shield. The second one will be removing them from the field of play. That got very dicey due to just how glassy Electivire is. It made that Liquidation look like fucking, I don't know, Drill Run or something. Why did it do so much damage? Despite Electivire having trouble with its lack of bulk, we're easily going to be able to take this game. The opponent finally going to concede the match, and we're going to move on to the next battle. Another person out here flexing on me. How are people maxing this thing out? Are they investing rare XLs or something? This opponent opts to pivot straight out into Gliscopod. I'm going to tank a move, then make the pivot into Electivire. I'm going to go straight for an Ice Punch, which would potentially be a wild charge. If the opponent shields, good for me. If they don't shield, that's also fine, because it's going to set up the opportunity to Thundershock farm down, and we know Dragapult has a monstrous attack stat and not much bulk, so we're going to be able to threaten Ice Punches when they return. I'm going to shield the Liquidation. The opponent, of course, gets the defense drop. Not that it matters, it's not like I had any defense anyway. We fire off one Thundershock and the Ice Punch. Ice Punch forces the Protect Shield. Even with debuff defense, Fire is going to be able to reach one more. This next Ice Punch likely goes unshielded, or at least so I thought, but the opponent actually opted double shield. We're going to send out Dragonite. We know we lose CMP. An argument could be made that I should have thrown it there. I'm actually going to bank this energy for the end game. The opponent sends out Waterfall Primarina. We show him Metagross. We're going to tank one Hydro Cannon. I'm then going to farm up, throw the Meteor Mash at the very last second, minimising the farm. I think my only win con is throwing it too early. The opponent farmed me down, leaving with the break-in swipe and winning CMP. We're going to fire off the Meteor Mash, picking up the knockout. The opponent only gets one Astonish. We've got so much energy on Dragonite. One Dragon Claw probably won't be lethal, but we will be able to Dragon Breath farm down before the break-in swipes reached, and we take that game. In the next battle, we saved the best till last. So for those of you that like films, you know at the end of a film you normally get like an outtake section with all the bloopers. This game has got to be one of the worst throws in Pokemon Go PvP history. It is hilarious. We shield the Dragon Claw. For some reason I don't catch there. Why? I have no idea. The opponent take their shield advantage. We send out Metagross, and out comes Primarina. The opponent's opting to stay in, which is more than fine for me. We're going to tank the Hydro Cannon. The opponent then sends out Gyarados. We've already established that Meteor Mash doesn't look so resisted. To be honest, Meteor Mash, a busted move, especially from such a big, monstrous stat product Pokemon like Metagross. We're able to get the opponent below half health. However, they've still got two shields intact. We're going to send out Via, going to invest the final Protect Shield. You might be thinking, how is this a blooper? They've got 2 shields and I've got none. Well, Electivire's energy, of course, is going to threaten Primarina. We're going to fire off 1 Thunder Shock and the Ice Punch. Ice Punch, even resist it, is going to have to be shielded. The opponent is going to run out of HP. I'm then going to farm up, throw 4 Thunder Shocks, look to make the catch onto Dragonite unsuccessfully. The opponent allows me to reach a superpower, single resisted. This does around 20-25%. The opponent invests that Protect Shield. So, of course, I've got the Wild Charge bank. This is game over. Why am I throwing Ice Punch? Do you want to know the honest answer? It's early in the morning. I can't remember which side the move's on. So I throw this game like an absolute potato. Oh, boy. I don't know what to say other than Jesus Christ. The next time I hear anyone say Jamie Finn isn't washed up, I'm just going to say, clip that last battle of this video and that tells you all you need to know. Electivire, would I recommend it for Master League Premier Cup? I'll be honest, it's fun to use, but my god, the lack of bulk is ridiculous. I've used a lot of glassy Pokemon in my time, but Electivire is really taking the biscuit in this format. It just cannot tank anything. Of course, just a couple of days ago, we was making a more serious climb using try-hard teams, or as try-hard as Triple Shadow teams can be. So I'm now in a dilemma. 2 people want to see me continue to run some crazy shadows in the Master League Premier. I've got stuff like Venusaur maxed at 50. I've got stuff like Walrein, Swampert, even a Blaziken. I could max out a Sceptile and even an Alolan Golem. If you'd like to see that form of content, let me know. If you'd like to see me make a serious push for Legend, using some more meta teams involving Shadow Pokemon in the Great League, post it down below. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, the link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.